right, everyone, and welcome to the second episode here on Fair Lake Smaller, the Fresh Takes with Russo and Felice. I am Paul Russo, the Russo portion of this. Across from me, as always, we got Nick Felice. Nick, how are you doing this fine Tuesday evening?
You know, I'm not doing too bad, Paul. Thanks for my intro.
I try my best.
Hey, Paul, there is a birthday here on the set today. Since my birthday is not for 291 days. It is your birthday today, Paul.
Thank you. I do appreciate it. Some people call it my Kobe year. I call it my Jeff Gordon year since I'm a Jeff Gordon fan from racing. So 2-4, and hopefully this year's as good as the rest of them have been the past few years. And we'll dive right into it. Some of my favorite stuff for the day. Sound like a plan to you?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we'll give you guys a quick overview of what we got going on today on the pod. Brief little rundown, a little bit more pop culture hopefully today for everyone. And,
a little more.
And speaking of jumping, we'll jump into, of course, the first of the many topics we got going on today.
The NBA Draft, Paul.
That is true. So, with that in mind, the NBA Draft was yesterday. That was the NBA Awards that were yesterday. The draft was last Thursday. DeAndre Ayton taken first overall at the University of Arizona to play essentially for his hometown team in the Phoenix Suns. And, of course, we know what already happened really with draft-wise. Trae Young, Luka Doncic was really the main trade of the night draft-wise, with the rights for Luka Doncic going to Dallas, the rights of Trae Young, as well as next year's first-round draft pick from Dallas going to Atlanta. Nick, I know your favorite team had a draft pick this year. Mine did not, so we'll start with your Knicks, I guess, the first local team. And,
all right, so my Knicks.
You were pretty excited about that pick.
So my Knicks had a pick at ninth overall pick, and they selected Kevin Knox out of the University of Kentucky. I would have liked to see Michael Porter Jr. out of Missouri with that pick, but either way, I still think Knox is a good player, and you got that injury concern with Michael Porter. I like Knox. I'm on the Knox train. Paul, I don't know I really don't know your opinion of Kevin Knox.
So I think the thing with Knox is at least a big question mark is maybe not so much his effort, but a stamina aspect of it coming from Kentucky, because he showed brilliance on both sides of the ball in my opinion, but you could tell certain parts where maybe he was a bit sluggish, especially on the defensive end. Now, obviously in the NBA, you're a knock of it where it's not a defensive style of ball anymore, but really an offensive style. But at the same time, you do need that stamina. So I think that's really probably his main question mark, at least going in to his first round of summer ball here coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah. The Knicks needed a small forward position. They needed that, and they got that. I don't know what it's going to do for the team this year. I still think the team could maybe win 30 games. 31, 32 games, somewhere in between there. I think 2 to 3 years down the stretch when we have a couple more draft picks, hopefully in the top 10, because I don't see the point to the NBA right now, Paul. The point of the NBA is that the Golden State Warriors are going to win the NBA championship. They're going to win it every year.
I think a lot of it actually really is, and I've started to come to your side a little bit on this. I'm not completely sold on it just yet. A lot of it has to do with, all right, obviously Steph's not going anywhere. So really it will be Golden State versus wherever really LeBron ends up.
Yep.
So
whether it's the NBA Finals or the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily agree. I don't agree with you. At the same time, I do.
I love to see it.
Yeah.
I think as a Heat fan, Eastern Conference fan, I think we'll go get drunk with Bucks fans and Pistons fans if LeBron does go to the West. I think it'd be a great time.
I think it would be interesting. I don't know why he'd really want to go to the West.
I don't see it.
If his main goal would be to get to the finals, why would you want to essentially get stopped short? So
yeah, if he goes to the West, there's not even guaranteed he can go to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah. So
and that's money.
So you look at so you always look at the draft, right? And you think about it in multiple ways, right? Who's going to be the steal? Who's going to be a bust? Who in your mind would be those two guys potentially?
Steal and bust?
Yeah.
Let me look here. So essentially, what is a bust? Is that you can't say a second rounder is a bust.
No.
It has to be a
I'd
first.
say a bust is
Top 15, top 20.
I don't know if I'd go top 15. I'd probably say lottery-ish,
Okay.
give or take. So yeah, probably top 15.
Yep. Top 15. Just looking at it real quickly here. I think people aren't gonna like my pick here for bust, but I think I go at number 5, Trae Young as the bust.
Yeah.
Some people say he could be Steph Curry. I see a Jimmer for that out of Trae Young.
Yeah.
I think you agree.
I certainly do agree with that. I've said this essentially since outright. Everyone was saying a lot of people like his style of play. I just don't understand how it's sustainable. It's a very Jimmer Fredette. Like you said, it's Jimmer Fredette. And I remember being a junior in high school when he was a senior in college, right? I'm like, Jimmer Fredette, like, great ultimate guy to have, right? And it just absolutely blew up in your face, right? So you look at Trae Young, essentially the same thing. Sure, he's a great scorer, right? But that's at the college line. The college line is still in a little bit, right? When he drives, he gets into trouble. He troubles himself, almost gets scared. I don't think his passing is great as everyone thinks it is either.
And he also can't play a lick of defense.
No,
that's going to really hurt him going to the NBA.
Defensively, he is awful, in my opinion.
Isaiah Thomas defense, not the Isaiah.
As I said, you can only you can score 50 points all you want, right? But if you give up 50 points in the process, what difference does it make? So that's where I kind of
that's what Jimmer would do. Jimmer would drop 60, but give up 50.
Yeah.
So really, he's only like a plus 10, and that's not going to cut it.
So we go on from the bust. Who do you think will be a nice, potentially, maybe not that superstar, but someone you look on paper and go, you want to know, he definitely ended up outplaying what he was supposed to be. You got anyone in mind?
If LeBron stays with the Cavs, right, Colin Sexton could be a superstar. He's going to be on TV all the time if he stays with the Cavs.
Yeah.
People are going to know who he is. His popularity is going to go up, and he's point guard, right?
He is the point guard.
Yep. Yeah, he'd be the point guard for that team, and definitely better than George Hill. He's definitely probably going to start if he doesn't get hurt or anything.
Yeah.
Or just not start him.
I think you bring up George Hill. I think a lot of it also depends on what do the Cavs do if, say, for instance, LeBron does leave or does he stay? What happens with a George Hill? What happens with, a guy like coming off the bench like a Clarkson or a Nance? You saw what Hood did in the finals. I think he could maintain pretty well there. Mm-hmm. But
you got to play Colin Sexton.
Yeah, absolutely. So
yeah, I think he could be a
star.
I
think we kind of agree on Colin Sexton. I'll just say another player in particular only because I was very high on him. I thought he'd fit very well with your Knicks. I said Mikal Bridges out of Villanova, drafted by the 76ers, traded his rights over to Phoenix. I thought, honestly, it was probably one of the top 3 players or so in the nation college-wise this year. And heading forward, I think he'll definitely be – I would imagine someone to be reckoned with. Maybe not a superstar, like I said, but certainly somebody you could say all-star, definitely a potential great player.
Quick ad.
Yeah.
DiVincenzo, just a shout-out. That guy is going to be a star. That guy's going to be a lockdown.
I think Milwaukee was a good spot. I know some people are saying, why would you draft him that high? I think it was an all-right spot.
That could really help. He's going to, with the Greek Freak, he's going to get a lot of open shots. DiVincenzo is going to be a three-point specialist, like the guy could shoot. I wish the Knicks drafted him.
Yeah, so we'll move on now. We'll head over to the MLB, probably our favorite sports really is baseball. MLB is now, we're quite halfway, but we're pretty much there this already, nearing the All-Star break in about 2.5 weeks. Mm-hmm. Certainly a lot of surprising teams so far this year. Teams that you expected probably to be better than they were, not doing so great. Many of the teams are really outshining. Probably would be, for instance, the Atlanta Braves leading in the NL East coming into the night, especially on the NL side. They are playing tremendous ball. Nick Markakis, Freddie Freeman, Dansby Swanson, all doing well, as well as Ozzie Albies out in the outfield, joining Markakis. Definitely all-star potential. I know, Nick, your favorite teams in the NL, so you've probably seen more of the NL. What's your opinion over on that side?
My favorite team, well, let's just tell the people this. My favorite team is the Pittsburgh Pirates. Yes, you're wondering how. How can that kid be a Pirates fan? Like, what's wrong with the kid? Is he all there? But,
I respect you because you've been there through the bad.
Oh, yeah. Since 2005. My grandpa was a Pirates fan, and my dad was a Pirates fan, and that's how my brother became a Mariners fan.
Makes sense.
It makes sense. And, so they're in the NL Central, 4th place, ahead of the great Cincinnati Reds.
Not bad.
They're just a young team. They don't have a lot of money over there, all right? And Paul knows this.
Yeah.
They're one of the worst payrolls in the league. And it just, you're a Yankees fan. We're talking about totally different teams here. I'm pretty sure one of you, Giancarlo Stanton, I think makes more than the entire team.
There are probably a few players for sure, but you look at it, right? The Central's kind of like a very tight-knit division right
Yeah,
now.
It always is.
I don't think quite like this.
We'll never beat the Cardinals.
No, you never say never. I think the Cardinals' windows
2025.
At least the veteran side of its windows kind of meeting its end. So I certainly would think at some point, right, that there will be a switch of traditional powers anyway in that division upcoming.
Yes. One takeaway I'll just take from it. What do we think about the Seattle Mariners?
So if we're looking at it from that side, I said they were a wild card team.
Yes.
They're certainly reaching that potential, but they are certainly playing great ball, better ball without Robinson Cano, is now essentially stuck in that suspension. He won't be eligible for the postseason should they get there. So certainly an interesting conundrum for them. But they have essentially already said that D. Gordon will be their man to go to, and I can't say I blame them at this point.
I think they need 1 or 2 more starters.
I think you can say
I think the Yankees, too.
Well, you can say with a lot of teams, right? Like, for instance, like you say the Yankees, right? The Yankees are already down 2 arms, really, essentially, starting-wise. Tanaka will be back. I think they're aiming it right after All-Star break. But you're without Montgomery, and that's a left-handed arm that's very pivotal down the stretch, especially in the dog days of summer. So I'd like to run to make a move for a lefty arm specifically.
Well, that's Tanaka's own fault. Man can't run to first base. What the hell?
That's the NL. That's the
NL.
That's the NL.
That's the out of shape.
That's the NL needing the DH right there.
That
right.
guy. That guy eats too many cheeseburgers or something.
Cheeseburgers. Tanaka doesn't do anything, man.
Okay, Chinese food.
He's Japanese.
Okay, Japanese. But anyway, so you're looking at the American League.
Yeah.
There's 5 teams.
Okay.
That's it.
So who's that 5th team then?
The Mariners.
I know what I know, but you're essentially saying the Yankees, Red Sox, Mariners. I'm presuming the Astros, correct?
Yes.
And then who's that 5th?
Cleveland.
Cleveland? Okay.
Cleveland.
Because that's
you have a case for another team in the Central?
No. I think it's going to be those 5 teams. What I'm saying is that Central is so boggy right now that the Indians are essentially the Indians aren't first, but they're underperforming what they should be.
So you look at Paul. You look at the Indians. Klubot.
The Klubot.
You look at the Red Sox, the guy that rips up jerseys, and you look at the Astros. They are putting shit on the ball. I don't know what they're putting on. They're the spin rate, whatever the thing they've been talking about. Those 3 teams, all they have in common is good starting pitching. The Yankees and Mariners need to get more starting pitching if they want to compete for this AL pennant.
Well, I think a lot of the teams right now need more pitching, to be honest. Red Sox today had to put Stephen Wright, their knuckleballer, on the DL. So certainly an interesting deal. I think a lot of the teams in the AL still need a lot of bullpen help. The Astros bullpen is certainly not performing to the level they were last year. I think that's something we can all agree on, and certainly the Indians as well. So you got really the two of the 5 teams we brought up need that help, at least in the bullpen department.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at it, we did some predictions earlier on before the season. Nothing really great going on, I think, in that regard for us.
Yeah.
I think really the only ones I think I've gotten right outright I think have been probably the Yankees, Red Sox, and Mariners. Actually, all the AL.
You did. You picked the Rockies.
Yeah, the Rockies.
You had the Diamondbacks.
Rockies out west. I talked myself out of them.
Yep. I remember that. Yeah.
So any other surprise or anybody else you want to talk about for baseball? A lot of storylines, really, to be honest, in baseball going on right now that a lot of people aren't talking about.
The fact that Bartolo Colon is still getting done.
Yeah, he pitched, I think, seven innings of ball. I think 1 or 2 earned runs, I think it was. He's doing some pretty good stuff. Yeah.
What's he, 45?
Yes.
You know him. You know him, Paul. I think
Look,
you guys are
Bartolo,
tight.
there's a reason.
That was a quick answer.
There's a reason why some people have called me Bartolo. There's a good reason.
No one's ever called you Bartolo.
I've got a couple people on the summer team I help out with who call me Bart.
Okay. I'd never call him Bartolo.
So we'll pivot on. We'll go with some pop culture now. Talk about Roseanne. We're going to look at this from the show perspective and not really dive too much into the politics.
Yes, we're talking
side.
about the show.
So I think it's going to be pretty interesting
Not
here
the tweet.
with Roseanne, right? ABC announced essentially after the tweet happened that Roseanne was essentially cut off from the show. Really a fancy term for fired, really, to be fair. And they're going to move on in a different direction with the family, kind of, I guess, like a life after Roseanne type deal. Should be interesting. I don't know really what to expect. It's got green light.
So is the show called Roseanne?
It will be called The Connors. So they're going from the family. They're going for that family aspect of it, The Connors.
Okay.
Yep. So they're going for 10 episodes. I don't think it will go on beyond that. I don't know what storylines they can really go with. I watched the original version of it. I don't know how much you saw of the original series and reruns. I know at the end of the series, obviously, as everyone knows, John Goodman's character, Dan, was not killed off because he was still on the show, but it made for a really awkward last season, in my opinion. And I think that's what you're going to get essentially with this 10-episode run.
Yes. So it's like, Roseanne, so it's called The Connors.
Yes.
So it's not called Roseanne, but it's still Roseanne's show. I still look at it as Roseanne's show. So it's like,
I think that's going to be an issue they're going to have to try and shake off, now that you mention it.
Yeah, so it's like, how's this show going to go? So you look at, like, these are not current shows I'm talking about, but like Seinfeld and Monk. You know those shows?
Yes.
Very good shows. Funny shows. Imagine those shows without Jerry Seinfeld and Monk.
Yep.
Just imagine them. You can't. I mean, I don't know.
Can't.
I don't think the shows could even exist.
You bring up a good point in that regard. I think that's a big issue with some of these shows, right? Is when you have a single focused character, maybe not so much a single focused character, but that main character, right, has like their name in the title. That's a big issue.
Yes. And Roseanne is clearly...
Roseanne, that's the banner. That's her...
It's like, I don't know.
Kind of claim to fame, almost.
I mean, it's like The Walking Dead. Obviously, you could kill off Rick because, there's been talks about Rick. That's different because it's called The Walking Dead. This is called Roseanne.
Yeah.
It's not called John Goodman.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not called...
Dan. It's not called The Dan Show.
You bring up a good point, right? It's not called John. It's called Roseanne. So I think it'll be interesting. I'm not too sure. I know they've said they're going to try to make it more of the family aspect of it. I'm not too sure.
It's going to be like kind of like
go.
Fuller House, maybe.
But even then, though,
that was tough to watch. Fuller House, not going to lie.
No, yeah. But even then, right? When you think about with Fuller House, they at least had original characters that were main, but they weren't like the spotlight per se.
Mm-hmm.
So it was able to at least, you had your own storylines you could kind of go with. You had new antagonists, protagonists, and all that. I'm not too sure what they're going to really be able to do with it.
Yeah.
So it will be an interesting, in my opinion, thing to watch. I'll probably give it an episode or two watch.
I'll give it a watch.
I'll probably do the same. I'll give it an episode 2 watch of it, like I did with the new season of Roseanne. And I mean, I didn't.
It will be. People will watch.
No, I mean that's the thing. People are going to watch.
They're not going to lose money off this.
No, they're not. That's the thing with a lot of these TVs that they do. The shows and networks do now is they don't necessarily care really who's on. They know people are going to watch and they're going to make money off it commercially.
It's just always like season 2 is where the true fans are. They watch season 2.
The loyal fans.
The loyal fans.
Yeah.
Like if you're watching right now, you're a loyal fan. Thank you.
True.
You can leave comments. We never said that. You can leave comments right off the YouTube page. And we have 0 comments. So
hey, look, if you always want to leave a like, listen, let us know what you think, do it.
Yes. Absolutely.
So we'll move on to the next topic for us. The new Mario Kart track. I know me and Nick are very excited about this. You want to know why, Nick? I love me some Mario Kart Double Dash. Might be my favorite Mario Kart game.
Oh,
but this Mario Kart,
it's the best.
But this Mario Kart track, for me anyway, is really exciting. You want to know why? Really not so much to do with the Mario Kart aspect of it.
No, I mean, they don't... Okay, if you don't know what we're talking about, it's this new Mario Kart track that just opened.
It's been open, what, like a couple weeks or so?
Doors open May 24th, so a
little bit longer, a month.
So when you're hearing us talk about Mario Kart track, we're not talking about a legit Mario Kart track. There's no bananas. There's no red shells. You don't throw red shells at the cart, and the cart doesn't spin around.
No.
There's no blue shells flying over. There's no Donkey Kong. There might be, actually.
No whomps dropping down on you.
No. There's none of that. It's just like it's a go-kart track, but it's pretty high.
It's unique in that regard, and it's good that you bring it up because most go-kart tracks, have you ever go-karted?
Yes. Crashed multiple times.
Where at? Probably Darien Lake or something, right?
On go-karted. Last time I go-karted was with my man Nate in Vermont.
All right. What was the track like there? Give me
it sucked. It was terrible. It was a cheap track.
Was it flat? Right,
yes,
relatively flat, maybe a little elevation.
Yeah,
right?
no elevation at all. I'm pretty sure it sank.
Yeah. So this track, most go-kart tracks, or karting tracks in general, right? They don't offer much elevation. They don't offer much in maybe unique turns. This track, elevation change, you're literally going up. You're going up in a spiral loop, and then there's also a fast downhill with a little bumps in between. And this is certainly unique. Because, like I said, most go-kart tracks aren't like that. The only ones that really like that and elevation shifts, per se, really are the tracks that professional racers race on go-kart-wise. And I think that's really unique, at least for us, the general public. We can just go on it and race, and I think that's really cool. At least for me, anyway, especially because I'm a race fan, so I think it'd be cool to just hop on it one day and be oh, here I go, and I feel like I'm actually, racing and doing stuff.
Yep. So it's open now. It is in Niagara Falls, the Canadian side, And it says here on the website, I'm looking at the website, it says, while there are no blue shells or lightning strike, the race is unique and it will feel like a real-life Mario Kart track.
Yeah.
And the prices, not too bad. So it's a 5-minute race.
All right.
$12 to drive.
Okay.
And if you want to ride with your driver, that is $4 as a passenger.
All right.
So, 5-minute race. I mean, Mario Kart, typically about 2 to 3 minute race, I think. Something like that. I don't know. I'm too into the zone to worry about my times. $12 to drive, $4 to ride, and that's not too bad.
Not bad, all things considered. Is there any, I don't think there's any training you have to do for it, right?
No.
So,
no hard.
Certainly better than the ones you can go to the mall, the ones that are the quote-unquote, pro style.
And everything's better in Canada, eh?
Oh, Canada. Yeah, I mean, it's right across the border.
Nova Scotia.
But yeah, I mean, it's right across the border, like you said, so you're going to need, unfortunately, either a passport or your enhanced license to get there. But once you get there, think about all the fun you could have on this track.
Mm-hmm.
So, certainly an interesting one. And we'll do a nice little seamless transition to our final topic of the night. NASCAR is at its halfway point in the season. I'm very excited about this. Nick,
Paul, I've been doing my study.
You probably watch what? The one race all year, and that was with me in the Daytona 500?
Yes. And who won that?
That would be Austin Dillon.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be a name, Austin Dillon.
You're really riding that Xfinity, Nationwide commercial from back in the day with that. But yeah, so it's we're at the halfway mark for that. It's been quite the year if you've paid any attention to it, really. I'm assuming probably a few of you definitely have not. But it's been a year where the supposed youth movement was supposed to take over, and it simply didn't. At least not yet anyway, at least in the win category. Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Martin Truex Jr., the veterans of the series at this point, are simply dominating. Driving Fords and Toyotas. Chevrolet brought the new ZL1 Camaro body out. They've only won one points-paying race That was a season opening Daytona 500. It's been a really nutty and crazy season so far, at least at the Cup Series level. A lot of the main names that you would expect to be in the series obviously aren't there anymore. No more Danica, no more Dale Jr., no more Stewart, no more Gordon.
No more Danica.
Oh, I know. Very depressing for you, Nick.
Oh, well, I'm looking at the top 16 right now, Paul, and a name that sticks out to me is Alex Bowman.
Bowman the Showman.
Bowman the Showman.
Dale Jr.'s replacement.
He's right now in the 16th place, right on the cut of the playoffs.
Yep.
If it's anything like NASCAR, he has no chance. Or NASCAR, anything like NASCAR. Anything like the NBA, he has no chance. And so how many points? Is it different for each race, Paul?
No, so you
point
are you talking about point
for the win?
No,
it's not different. It's the same.
Yeah, it's the same essentially. It's the same for every race, right? So you win, you still get 40 points. You win a stage, you still get the one playoff point, so on and so forth.
40 points for a win, huh?
Yep.
This Cody Ware guy's got 1 point on the season.
Cody Ware's only ran one race, and that was this past weekend at Sonoma. He's actually really a road course driver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
give me 3 names to look at as we head down the final stretch of the NASCAR's regular season here.
All right, so one will be, I'll do an obvious one right off the bat. Kyle Larson. He drives the 42 Chevrolet Camaro for Chip Ganassi Racing. Dominated last year at these bigger, faster tracks like Auto Club in Michigan. I know I'm spewing random stuff out for a lot of you, but these tracks are 2 miles long, very quick tracks, handle his style of driving pretty well. Hasn't won yet. I think a lot of it has to do with the Chevy body and the new body having to get used to the aerodynamics of it, and they're also struggling on the power department and the engine department. So that's number 1, at least in my mind. 2 would be Chase Elliott out of Hendrick Motorsports. Same deal. Hasn't won yet. Shown a lot of promise in the past few years. However, still has yet to visit victory lane. Hendrick Motorsports overall struggling. And the third driver to look out for, Jimmy Johnson. Hasn't won yet. He is in the longest win drought of his career right now. For a 7-time champion, especially a guy like Jimmy Johnson, he is struggling now. Simply put, he is struggling. And, I think he's definitely a guy you need to look out for down the stretch, see what happens. He's not so much in danger of missing the chase right now, but that's only because only 6 drivers have won this year. It's the lowest total since, I believe, it's a year in like the 1970s. So
I'll give you one name who to look out for, and that is Austin Dillon, because he's going to be a name. Austin Dillon is my pick to win it all, Paul. I like Austin Dillon. What are your thoughts there? You think he's got a chance?
Well, I think the big thing with Austin Dillon, unfortunately, is the team he drives for, because he drives for Richard Childress Racing, and especially in the past few years, they've struggled to get a handle on these cars. They're called the Generation 6 cars, and they are struggling. Struggling may not be the best word. They're struggling at the sponsorship aspect of it. So I think Austin Dillon can contend. He's got a very good crew chief, someone who is not afraid to take a risk. He did that last year in the Coke 600 and won his first career race that way. Austin Dillon is not afraid to take a risk either. He won the Daytona 500 by essentially not moving his bumper out of the way and then spun Eric Almirola out to win the race. So if he gets in the playoffs and he moves on through the first round of the playoffs after 3 races, he may make some noise at Talladega.
Yes.
So,
quick last note before we end the show today.
Yep.
U.S. Open picks. Paul?
Yeah.
I think you won.
That's a good point. I did.
I picked...
You went with...
Did I say Brooks Koepka?
You went with John Rahm, who did not make the cut Friday at Shinnecock Hills.
Yeah, he's like plus 25 or whatever it was.
It was a weird U.S. Open. I think we can agree on that.
Yes.
It was certainly... you figured... I don't think anybody anticipated the scores being that high.
No.
So
I owe you dinner where?
Dinner, lunch, whatever. It could be Dewey's, could be wherever. I frankly don't care.
We'll make it a brunch.
Brunch? Squad brunch?
Squad brunch.
All right, Nick, I know you want to end each show a different way, so I'll let you take the reins here. I know you got somebody you probably want to shout out.
Shout out to my man Q, Marquise Patterson, out of Newburgh, New York, Keuka College. Shout out. So let's think of it before I tell you, Paul. So it's your birthday.
That's true.
Are you going to Reds right now? Gonna get turnt?
Probably not. I'm relatively hungry. I've been at work all day, so I don't know what we're gonna do. If you're up for it, we can go to McDonald's and get a burger.
All right, man.
All right. So
you're buying.
All right, works for me. So with that in mind, we'll catch you guys in 2 weeks. I'm not too sure of the dates because we end up in July, and I just don't have the brain power for that right now.
I think Josh Langley is going to be on the show.
Oh, Josh. Oh, boy.
Josh Langley.
So with that in mind, I just want to give another quick thanks again for Zach to being in studio, helping out with us again
Zach,
tonight.
Thank you.
Zach, it's much appreciated. With that in mind, like I said, I'm Paul Russo. Across from me is Nick Felice. Thanks for tuning in with the Fresh Takes with Russo and Felice here on Finger Lakes 1.
See you later.